Alright, YouTube folks, feel free to skip forward about a minute here while I get my spreadsheets and such pulled up, and I give people a second to go and get into the chat. Why am I not getting anything over here? There we go. Alrighty, good evening everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site dedicated to legacy, death, and taxes, and we'll be playing some D&T later tonight. I had time to start the stream a little bit early, so we're gonna shoot for 2 leagues tonight, but it might be closer to 1.5 depending on how long games take. We're gonna try to power through a league with Red Prison here. Those matches tend to go very, very quickly, just kind of due to the nature of the deck. And then I'll play a little bit with Death and Taxes because the deck's really fun and I enjoy it a lot. So here's the build of Red Prison that I've been jamming for the last couple of leagues. I got a 5-0 with it. I think that was yesterday, and I was pretty happy with that. The deck list seems really good. I'm kind of convinced there should be a third Trinisphere in here somewhere. That card has just been overperforming, and every one of my opening hands that has Trinisphere in it has just been absolutely disgusting. And it also pairs very, very well with Karn. I don't really know what I cut to make room for a third Trinisphere, though. That's kind of my problem. Like, if I want to play one more Trinisphere, I probably need to cut either a Bridge or a P and K, I guess. So it's possible that, like, one of the sideboard cards should just be another Trinisphere. Evening, Army of Thalia, welcome. But I've been pretty happy with this deck list. It's performed very well for me. I have a large... Cut the 4th Chandra. Okay, that is 100% reasonable. Like, 7 Planeswalkers is a lot of Planeswalkers. So, like, we could cut 1 Chandra for a Trinisphere. That'd be a reasonable thing to test. That's a fair suggestion. I also could, like, get rid of one of these Sulfur Elementals or something like that. Or the random one of Chaos Warp without too much difficulty. And without too many changes to matchups across the board. I'm not going to make the change yet, because when a deck list is doing well for you, you don't mess with it. It's when you start losing games and you can, like, really attribute losses to something that it's really time to make changes. And overwhelmingly, my results with this list have been positive. So I'm not going to mess with a winning formula. Yes, cut those Sulfur Elementals, all of them, and then tell your friends to cut their Sulfur Elementals too. Good thinking. Good thinking. I like where your head's at. Alright, so without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into our first league here. Oh, I do want to just, like, take a second to say that I upgraded some of my tech for the stream. So I got this sweet new mouse. I got a Logitech G502 mouse. It's super sweet. It has a bunch of programmable buttons, and I can assign, like, hotkeys and shortcuts and stuff to the various buttons. It's weighted in the bottom, so it just, like, feels really, really good. Super happy with that decision. That was a good quality of life improvement I did for the stream. So stream, you financed a new mouse for me, so thank you, stream. I want to buy out Sulfur Elementals just so I can destroy them all. Card's pretty good against us. Yeah, I've talked about doing similar things. It was Dread of Night for me, because that one costs 1 mana instead of 3, and it just feels so much less fair. But yeah. I know what you mean. Cut sulfur elementals, put in flash fires. Ah, Mr. Chicken Bacon Ranch himself. So I can Chrome Mox, Imprint, Spirit Guide, play land, play Karn, have Bridge. I know he's playing Delver, and Bridge is fine. So I just go like turn 2 Karn with this hand, have no lock piece other than Bridge, and like one disruptive spell really messes up this hand. I think I ship this one. It's very close though. This is arguably worse. This is turn 2 Chandra. If it gets countered, I die. Or if my opponent like flips a Delver, I die. Probably doesn't get much better on 5 though, unfortunately. I'm going to keep this and hope to scry a nice follow-up play. This is not great versus Delver. I'll bottom that. That's actually really good. Yeah, this was the problem with the first hand as well. Yeah, so the artifact lands are there to have synergy with Karn. They have one job. So I can just like moon my opponent this turn, play land, then Chandra my next turn. Or I can Chandra this turn, minus Chandra, kill this, then moon. I don't think I can beat my opponent if he does anything else. So I'm going to try to resolve this moon. And then answer one of his 2 threats next turn. Okay, yeah, I was not going to beat this hand with either one of my hands. I accept. I'm currently in process of writing an article on Red Prison. It'll probably be the first of 3 articles I write on it. And one of the first things I'm going to talk about is how you can't be afraid, you just have to jam. Do I want to lose this city? If I'm willing to lose this city by playing a land, I can just play my Chandra with Daze backup, which is probably pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and kill one of his creatures here and just, like, trade this for a few life and some degree of disruption. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take out his Deathrite. It just enables all the broken things he can do. Well, it all depends on whether or not the Deathrite blind flips, because my opponent shuffled off their Ponder. Well, that was a pretty insane draw on my end. Oh, man. So the sequencing I did on the previous turn where I played around days was super relevant. That's bad. I do not feel safe, chat. I, in fact, feel dead. So we lost that 1 to 3 counterspells. Yeah, we got Delbert. That's fine. Alright, so we go Braid in, and Kozilek's return in. Oh, it's Rattlemasters. Rattlemasters out. Can also cut 1 Karn for the other confluence, I suppose. Yeah, so Army of Thalia, it's all about sort of your viewpoint, right? Like you just have to be willing to jam. Like with this hand, I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to jam, and I'm going to see if a turn 1 Chalice is good enough. And if a turn 1 Chalice isn't good enough, I'm going to die, and that's fine. So now I have to hit a land to do one of these Planeswalkers, preferably this turn. This is acceptable. Do I just cast this into Daze? Probably don't cast this into Daze. I probably go and cast a 4-drop and then accept that my bridge might resolve afterwards. My opponent doesn't have a threat yet. That's gonna sting. I don't really know that there's ever been a point where Painter was like one of the most prominent decks. At least not in the time that I've been playing Legacy. Like, there are a couple of Painter players that have done well with Painter, but as far as like Painter being a real deck that has, like, put up serious results over a prolonged period of time. Not so much. I 100% expect this is just going to get lightning bolted. No illusions about this, like, actually working. Yeah, prior to the reprint in whatever derpy side set that was, I agree with that. Now the deck is very, very affordable. At least by Legacy standards, you know. You have big fish. It feels like this was a big fish hand. Ugh. Hey, Goblin Lackey, welcome. Yeah, Lewis is just, like, destroying me. The fact that I'm playing Great Furnace for Karn was super punishing in this matchup. Like, that was just a mountain. I probably can't lose here. Alright, Lewis, how good are you? If you're as good as I think you are, you name Ensnaring Bridge. Yeah, good job, Lewis. Fuck. Alright. That was a beating. No, we do not play Goblin Welder, unfortunately. We're a Chalice deck, so that's not really what we're going for. Hey, Andre, welcome. So, like, we did not draw well that match, and that's fine. Like, our 7-card hand probably wasn't good enough against Delver. Our 6-card hand was acceptable, but was weak to Daze, just like our 7-card hand was. And that was the story of Game 1. And then Game 2, we had a strong hand. The opponent had the Force of Will for the Chalice, and then a Wasteland to keep us off of our 3rd land. And that's fine. I'm not angry about that at all. Like, this is the life of playing Red Prison. You keep very, very objectively powerful hands, and you throw it on the table and ask your opponent, can you beat this? If not, I win. And you repeat this process, and then you get a bunch of tickets. Alright, so my opponent's a Reanimator player, and I can play a turn 1 Trinisphere. So I keep that. Was that the one that had, like, the 4 Kiki-Jikis in the sideboard? Because I saw that. That was a special list. So, like, how does anyone ever, like, fucking beat Trinisphere on turn 1? Like, legitimate question. I'm gonna get to play this Trinisphere. My opponent's gonna do nothing. Yeah. God, Trinisphere is so good. I need to put a third in. Alright, so what do I want to do? Probably Chaos Warp and Scab Clan Berserkers in and Blood Moons out. That Goblin's deck was more functional than you thought it would be. Not sure if completely compliment or not, but I understand what you mean there. I should stream Mud sometime and just, like, be amazed that I can play 4 Trinispheres and 4 Lodestone Golems in this format. So Cutie Mark Mason, a lot of times you need to ooh, sorry, I'm off one sideboard card here. What am I missing? Oh, there was just no Chaos Warp in the other build. Nugga Confluence out. So sometimes you have to build your own playgroup. This is a turn 2 Trinisphere, and my opponent has mulliganed, so I'll keep this. A lot of times, in order for me to get a playgroup, I had to, like, bring legacy decks to places and allow people to, like, borrow my decks to try them out. Ooh. Opponent not Reanimator at all. Holy shit, is my opponent playing Mono Red Storm? Oh shit, they are playing Mono Red Storm. Chad, I did not expect this. Oh god. Alright, well. I got, chat. Got. Sorry, to finish that thought, I was kind of surprised there. Sometimes you have to, like, actively go and try to get new people into Legacy and build up a community yourself if you want to have people in your own town that will play Legacy with you. Like, for us, it started as, like, a weekly gathering of, like, 6 people to play Legacy at a shop. And then our scene slowly grew from there. But, like, in other places, I've just showed up and I've had, like, 6 decks on me. I'm like, hey, do you want to play Legacy? And they're like, I've never played. I'm like, that's fine. The format's sweet. And I kind of introduced people to it that way. So, Spyglass is going to come in for sure. I guess the whole Magus of the Moon thing's pretty weak. Does a Braid actually do anything? So, like, I get that a Braid can theoretically blow up a Goblin Charbelcher, but what's the chance that they just, like, go 4 mana, produce it, pass, and actually give me an opportunity to blow it up? I think very small. why Confluence is back in. Just because it can nug something and, like, have the upside of killing Belcher if everything's in Magical Christmas Land for Phil. Okay, I can respect Empty the Warrens with Confluence. Like, that's probably just better than Moonman, right? This Chaos Warp can also get out. There's some merit to playing a K return for goblins. Okay. What does this hand do? This hand goes Mox, Imprint, turn 1 Berserker. And I'm all in on a Berserker with Sorceress Spyglass as backup if I go and draw a land. I'm keeping this. No, I don't think I turn 1 Spyglass. I think I turn 1 this idiot. Nope, no, undo that. So you gotta remember that there are different wins with this deck. By doing what I'm doing, I'm essentially shutting off the Stormwind, and I'm making him have turn 1 Belcher if he wants to beat me. And it also has to be turn 1 Belcher that doesn't involve a bunch of things like Manamorphose. Yeah, so if I play Spyglass and name Belcher, then I just get emptied for infinite. Alright, so it's Rite of Flame, LED gone. Belcher gone, activate this. Yeah, so if I go... Oh, that's annoying. If I go and turn 1 Spyglass Belcher, then my opponent is just going to make enough goblins that I'm dead anyway. Yeah, so neither one of my routes led to victory there. Jeez. That was rough. F-Pause, what are you playing? Congrats on your third 5-0. Goblin Lackey, my opponent is probably just, like, having some fun and, like, just doing something different from what they normally do. Like, it's the same reason I play things like Soldier Zombie and Mono Black Control from time to time. It's not because they're the best decks, it's because they're fun. Oh, excuse me. There's a bunch of results from 2017 suggesting that my opponent plays Storm, but those are like almost a year old. This is a hand on the draw that produces a turn 2 Magus, a turn 1 Magus if I draw a red card. I'm probably just going to treat this like this is a blind match and go ahead and keep this. If I, like, in game 1, if I want to mull to beat Storm, it's Tranosphere or Chalice are the only cards that are, like, super relevant. So I'll just go ahead and keep this. So this will probably just take my Chromux. Yep. So the good news is that since my opponent led on Underground Sea, if they don't go off this turn, my Magus will shut them off of their colors currently. Yeah, so there is a very real portion of that with Red Prison, where it's your opponent's opener versus your opener, where your opener has more haymakers. There goes my Magus. And if your hand is better, you just win. And since your hand has so many strong cards, you just win games a huge proportion of the time without much of a fight. Not gonna bother to play this bridge. I can't empty my hand before goblins would kill me as is. And the 2 life I would take in order to play that now is probably more relevant than having the bridge in play. I got unlucky, but after watching me play, I hope you've realized that there are a huge number of decisions in playing this deck in almost all of the games that make it past turn 3. Like, there is a lot of nuance to playing this deck. I don't like it when my Storm opponent pauses for this long. It usually means I'm dead. Oh, you were still referring to the Belcher deck. Okay, sure. That's fine. That makes more sense then. I hope this is an elaborate kill setup. Oh my god. I'm alive. I'm alive! So I can play Ancient Tomb, Chandra plus for mana, play Bridge. Or I can just plus for 2 damage and decrease the chances that my opponent can ad nauseum kill me. Either way, it starts with this. Yeah, I mean, if I Chandra plus play Bridge by exiling Spirit Guide, the next turn I can probably empty my hand, and then goblins aren't an out anymore. But I probably don't need to worry about the game 1 goblins. So I think I just plus for damage. Oh man, you're right, chat. Hitting Chalice for 0 would have been absolutely savage. Is it Rit Infernal Tutor? That's, yeah. No way to go Hellbent for Infernal Tutor yet. Still no way to go Hellbent. There's the Hellbent. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, crack, 8. Yeah. Just check to make sure that's not in the graveyard. No, Tendrils is not in the graveyard. We dead. Alright, so playing against Ant. I think I was on the draw. What was on the draw? Loss. Yonkeda. 13. Game 1 loss. Honestly, I just drew the wrong side of my deck in that match. Like the Cabal Therapy on the Chrome Mox bought them some time, and then I just kind of like had the fair portion of my deck. So what do I want? I want Scab Clan Berserker mostly. Bridges can come out. They're pretty bad. I guess the Kozilek's returns are fine. So the notes I have from Zach say to trim some Chandras here. He boards out all of his, but he also like boards in a braid. I don't know how I feel about that. Seems kind of ambitious. Could see just like Confluence 6 to the Dome being better than Chandra though. So Cutie, if you have Amazon Prime, you can connect your account to your Twitch account, and by doing so, you get a free subscription to a person of your choice every month. So if you're looking to throw some money my way to support what I want to do, but you don't actually want to throw real money at me, you can throw fake money at me, and it works just the same. I have directions for that below the stream. In a tab that I've called Got Amazon, sub here for free. Of note, that works remarkably better on a desktop than on a mobile device. So chat, here's a tricky hand. I can chalice on 0, and then if I draw lands, this Trinisphere is spicy. Is this a keep? I think I'm all about keeping this hand. Like, this stops them from getting hellbent with Infernal Tutor, and it really decreases the power of the Past in Flames kill. And this card's basically unbeatable. So I think I'm in. But this is questionable. If you were up a game, you'd say yes. That's fine. But I have nothing to lose. Like, I'm 0-2 in this league to start off. So I'm okay with taking some chances. We're gonna have to take some chances to go and win this match. Or, sorry, to rephrase that. We're gonna have to take some chances if I want to, like, cash this league. Because, you know, we've got to bat 1,000 from here. Well, as soon as I draw 1 land, now I have another amazing play. And opponent shuffled with that Ponder, by the way. Yes, they're not therapying us. That's phenomenal for us. Also, micro misplay by playing that fetch land prior to a Gataxian Probe. If my if my opponent had drawn, say, a Polluted Delta, they could have fetched their basic Swamp and not have to worry about just getting mooned. Cutie Mark Mason, thank you very much for subscribing and you know, pushing me closer to my goal for this month. Today is the last day of the billing period, and I needed to get I need 2 subs in order to hit my threshold where I get paid out well this month. And you're the first of those 2. Hey, Bosk, you're the second of those 2. Thank you very much, folks. I kind of cut it a little bit close this month in terms of my payout numbers, so I really do appreciate your support here. It means a lot. And I'll do a couple of bonus streams to thank you all for that. Guess who doesn't have a swamp now? It's you. Oh geez, Hercule's Recall would also return my Great Furnace, wouldn't it? God, that would be so humorous. Okay. You want to get rid of my Chalice on 0? That's very telling. I can do another one next turn. Not right now, because Trinisphere. But next turn. Next turn I will Chalice on 0. With certainty. If they wanted to Abrupticate that over the Trinisphere, that probably means they have a bunch of very good artifact mana in hand. or a second thing that messes with Trinisphere. Who doesn't like $500 mountains? Alright, so we're going to cast this for x equals 0. Pay 3 for the Trinisphere tax, because that's how weird magic cards work. Man, Hercule's recall for Great Furnace is something I'm gonna like have to actively keep in mind. That's really weird. Ah, there's that swamp. Yeah, it's like so random. Some of the price differences between paper and Moto. Like I think Tabernacle's less than $1 on Moto. It's a little more expensive in real life. Just reserve list problems. Yeah, boss, that is a weird quirk of Moto. Like there are some cards that are just like almost prohibitively expensive. So I hit my opponent to 10, I play a Magus, then I hit my opponent for 4, and I have lethal with a Fiery Confluence next turn. Yeah, buying into D&T online was brutal for a while. When I did it, it was about $700. The summer before, it was like $1,300. Now it's like $350 or something like that. Okay. Okay. Where is this going? So last card just like has to be Infernal Tutorer. Okay. Is it just going to be like Infernal Tutor for Infernal Tutor? Or Past in Flames? Alright, so I assume this is a kill. My opponent's doing it. That just gets Tendrils, right? And then I die. My opponent just like arbitrarily building up the storm count since I'm not conceding? Yes, okay. I can respect that. Well, no, he didn't next level us, right? Because he had double LED that he started that off with, so he really did care about the Chalice. It just happened that he could piece together a win through it. So our opponent there beat Trinisphere, double Chalice, and Moonman. Like opponent earned that win. play Prison, either 5-0 or 0-3. That's the beats. This is about the worst I've done with Red Prison. When I was first playing it on Moto, I made a lot more errors than I'm making now, and I lost more games because of it. But I think I had like 3 4-1s in a row and then a 5-0 with it. I was on a hell of a tear. So like it's okay that I have some bad beats here. Like let me look. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like prior to the starting of this league, I had like 8 wins in a row, and then before that, like another 5 wins in a row. So like I had been doing very, very, very well with the deck. Okay, chat. Quick informal poll. Do you want me to play out these next 2 rounds with Red Prison, or should I just jump right into D&T content? Because I'm fine with either. The people have spoken. You all will get your elves soon. I've got to be close to that followers threshold, right? Yeah, that was 900. I'm at 852. We'll probably get there next week. Okay, here is the mono white D&T list that I've been playing. It's a triple Sarah Avenger build supplemented by 2 Mirror Crusaders. It has the 24th land for stability, and most of the sideboard stuff is pretty stock here. Not too much to say. No frills. Just good, solid Magic. Should have Julian Knob join you on stream when you play elves. Julian did that recently for what's his name, for Pleasant Kenobi. Julian got like absolutely smashed on Memorial Day and was trying to help Pleasant Kenobi play elves, but Julian was so drunk he was having trouble remembering the names of the elves. It was pretty funny. I enjoyed watching that quite a bit. I do hope to do a piece of cooperative content with Julian sometime in the future. Probably when both of us have more time. He put out a really great article. If any of you haven't read Julian's most recent article, I highly recommend it. It really hit home for me as a fellow content producer. Why no prelate? I don't really think prelate's good right now, truth be told. Like, against the Delver decks, I boarded out because, like, they just stick a threat and then you turn off your 7 removal spells, and that's pretty terrible. And against check pile, there's just, like, removal at too many varied costs, and I'm just not convinced it's worth it. You really feel it in the lands matchup, but otherwise it doesn't bother me too much. No, I don't think the Shalai experiment has failed. I think Shalai is a very good legacy playable card. I do think it's better in Maverick than D&T, though, after experimenting a little bit with it in both. It was just disgusting in Maverick. It's just so stupid there, where, like, you just get Gaia's Cradle and then you just, like, start vomiting counters onto things. And it's, like, another deck that can go and, like, protect it with Mother of Runes, too. So I think it's better as a 1-of in Maverick than anything else. Yeah, Depths is so popular right now that I actually might consider making some changes to my deck list to account for that. I really do like Shalai against Depths because it shuts off that fucking right of consumption kill that, like, somehow always gets me. Alright, so we're basically keeping this hand against any deck in the format, right? This hand is just nuts. Alright, opponent's probably on Delver. I'm gonna go ahead and Vial here. Really happy that Vial resolved. Like, now I'll get to Swords to Plowshares, the Deathrite Shaman, Violin Mom, their end of turn. Then, like, Violin Avenger or Thalia as needed. It's just gonna be gross. Okay, this is a great draw. So I'm gonna go ahead and Swords to Plowshares this Deathrite Shaman. I feel like it's gonna get Spell Pierced. I feel like that's what this Trap Open means. So what's the pause here for? Like, if you have a Spell Pierce, this is an easy Spell Pierce. Does that mean you have a Force of Will? And you're not sure if that's worth it? Nope, you're just F6 now. Okay. You played Deathrite and Goblins over Lackey? My god, what's wrong with the world? Okay, so it was a pause to consider whether or not it was worth brainstorming there. That's fine. That's a reasonable interpretation of that spot. I hear lots of people have splashed for a certain merfolk. I'm gonna go ahead and make kind of a conservative play here and just 100% make sure my spells resolve. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in a Thalia, and then I'll Swords to Plowshares this Delver, and then this Swords to Plowshare cannot get dazed or forced. Young peasy. That will cost you a mana, sir. I'm so well equipped to beat Young Pyromancer right now. That is not a problem. Now it's just laughable. All my pieces of equipment are very... yeah. Hey, Field of Microbeats, thank you very much for subscribing and help to support my content. I barely squeaked by this month and hit my my follower threshold for a nice cash out. So thank you very much for your support. It does mean a lot. I'll do a little bit of bonus content this week, and we'll make sure make it worth your time for subscribing. All right, so we'll go Revoker out, and with my build that has more Sarah Avengers, I think I can afford to cut the recruiters. A lot of times I've been leaving them in to help grind better in the post-sideboard games, but when I have more Avengers to help stabilize the board, that's probably not quite as necessary. And then I just trim one other card of my choice. Previously there had been another Revoker in here to fit that spot, but I guess it's probably just a Flicker Wisp. Thoughts on Brightling? Chase, I 100% will be trying out that card. Night Moxall. I need to do some paper testing with it prior to the Invitational, or sorry, I should say to SCG-Con's Duel for Duels, to see whether or not it's good enough. I 100% will play with it on stream once it's on Magic Online. I think that card has a lot of potential as a very flexible card that fills an odd niche of being both good against control decks and Delver decks. I think that's a nice place to be. Oh god, Bosk, what is this? Oh my god, Bosk, this is beautiful. I'm going to take a closer look at that in a bit. Yes. Yes. I think I would play that. I hadn't considered Brightling and Displacer together. I had been thinking about, like, Brightling and Violon 3, or, like, Brightling and Mom. Those were the combinations I had in mind for sort of, like, defensive purposes. There goes Mom. So, this is a turn where I have to make a choice. I either wasteland one of my opponent's lands to keep them off of True Name Nemesis, or I accept that I give them a chance to resolve a True Name Nemesis, but just, like, play out my own relevant card that they have to answer. I don't really have supplemental mana denial that I can use beyond the wasteland if I take that route, though. Sword Splasher beats the other creatures, but not True Name. But, like, I can't really be porting my opponent with my hand the way that it is. Yes, Stoneblade is absolutely happening. I haven't been home at the same time as my roommate before I started to stream to borrow the Force of Wills, but Stoneblade is 100% happening. And I'm going to get the Batterskull here so that I incentivize my opponent to use their turn to get rid of this Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, please don't Cabal Therapy me. Fuck. Alright. Well, the good news is I can do considerable amount of damage to my opponent's resources even after this Cabal Therapy gets both my Batterskull and my Jetay. Because I can Swords the Plowshares the Pyro, Wasteland the Underground Sea, or like Flicker Wisp for Sword of Fire and Ice. So, like, I'm not out of this one. It just stings. Army of Thalia, remind me after this game, and I'll show you the deck list. The deck list is super interesting. It's sort of an old school Mentor Blade deck. That's a sweet natural draw. How greedy am I willing to get here? The greedy but sweet play is play Flicker Wisp my Wasteland, Wasteland Underground Sea, put in Sword as a surprise. I think I really like that. Let's go greed. This is a little punished by a piece of counter magic. But if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world? Yeah, okay. So the nice thing about this is that this Stoneforge probably just gets to live. Okay. I regret playing that Vial. I probably shouldn't have played the Vial so that I could Swords put in with Stoneforge and Wasteland. But it turns out not wasting the black source ended up kind of being a boon for us. Yeah, this actually worked out better than what might have been the, like, quote-unquote optimal play. Alright, opponent, you have one card. Woo! I don't feel like my opponent plays Stifle. But we'll still be good and play around it. That's the story of playing against Delver, though, right? Like, oh yay, they didn't zombie fish me. Like, if you dodge a zombie fish in True Name Nemesis, you're just in awesome shape. Alright, so this is just a 1-2. This has no further text. Do I want to vial this in now for any reason? If I vial it in now, I can equip it. But I lack the surprise element. I think I'm fine with just putting this in now. Yeah, so it's the difference between, like, do I want to try to ambush in combat, or do I want to avoid something like a lightning bolt messing with my blocker? Look what we can do with all this mana. Do a quick check. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove that Deathrite on my turn. Play around a Spell Pierce. Got plenty of mana. Easy. Okay, there was something I was going to do after that match. Army of Thalia. What was I supposed to do? Oh, I was supposed to pull up the Stoneblade list I'm going to play. It's sweet. So check this out while I update my spreadsheet. Ugh, excuse me. Life is Bowling. I would love to see a Stoneforge unban in Modern. I think that card is perfectly reasonable by the standards that Modern is at right now, especially with like the printing of Culligan's Command. That is like a very main deckable way to get rid of artifacts. I don't think Stoneforge Batterskull is all that broken compared to other things you can do in that format. Like decks like Affinity can get you dead before like that is overly relevant, and they can like fly over the top of it or use the guy that gets protection from everything, like Baby Artifact Progenitus. Totally blanking on the name. Use that guy to get through it. Like, I think it's fine. Edge Champion. Thank you, HC Fox. I was just like totally blanking on that. So this deck list is sweet. It's got like a bunch of cool synergy things in it, like Gitaxian Probe and Meddling Mage, Gitaxian Probe and Mentor, and like Gitaxian Probe and Therapy. That's basically cheating, right? Then you get 8 cantrips to hold it together, and Deathrite Shaman to make the mana work. It seems like it'll be fun. There's a little more away from D&T than what I normally play, but someone donated for it, and like I've played Stoneblade before and I've enjoyed it a lot, but I haven't played Stoneblade in probably about a year and a half. So it'll be a nice change of pace. And Chase, I didn't respond to that other message you sent me. But yeah, that sounds good. We can probably make that work in some capacity. No, there's. Okay, so there's a. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had this shrunk up before. There's also 4 Force of Will and a Batterskull there. Yes, so there are 2 Stoneforge Mystic targets in the main deck, and then a Sword of Fire and Ice in the sideboard. Sorry about that. I'm used to everything kind of fitting. So for anyone who wasn't here for my introduction earlier, hello, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Today, we started out the stream with Red Prison, and we got absolutely crushed. That's okay. You know, the stream I did on Monday with it was 5-0, so like, so it goes. And now we're playing Mono White D&T. We just stomped on a Delver deck, and we'll see what we can do now. I like my opponent's name. They're licensed to pill. They played Burn in 2017. How do I feel about this hand? This hand has 2 Karakas. Mulligan. This hand has 1 Karakas and an Ether Vial. Snapkeep. Hoping to put a land on top here. Second Vial. Am I in for Second Vial? I think I'm in for Second Vial. If the first one gets countered, this is great. If the first one doesn't get countered then I can like ride the second, so I can do something like Vile on 3, Recruiter, get Thalia, put in Thalia same turn. This is probably fine. It is like even better if they are a pharmacist. I agree, chat. Ooh, they are burn. So if I draw a land next turn, I probably just can't lose. I would get to go like Vile in Stoneforge, get Jitte, cast Jitte. That'd be pretty gross. The alternate account, Lewis BLT. I like that. Chicken Bacon Ranch got us real good earlier. Was not close. The Dean. All right, White Faces. I see what you're going for there. I like that. Oh man, opponent just skipped through their combat. There's got to be a lightning bolt over there, right? Like on one of these two, on something. Like take your pick, but like one of these has to go. Yes, I like to be on the Vile side of the Eidolon matchup. It feels pretty great. This is probably just the point where I pass the turn. I have no reason to take any actions here. And I don't feel like I need to like play a Thalia or anything like that off of the Recruiter. I'd rather leave myself with the flexibility of like knowing I need to get a Flicker Wisp if my opponent plays something annoying like Sulfuric Vortex. Come at me, bro. I think he's scared. Oh, he's scared, chat. Too scared. So Thalia's past the point where it's probably relevant. So I can get a Stoneforge Mystic to fetch a Batterskull. But I think I'm just going to get another Recruiter. Or a Flicker Wisp. I'm fine with just casting the Jitte for 2 damage if we get to that point. But pulling out I could probably just go aggro and just, like, 6 my opponent, then 9 my opponent and kill them. That sounds great. Or actually, can I just do this in 2 turns? I can tick both vials up, Flicker Wisp my Recruiter on my turn, get Recruiter back, get Flicker Wisp, put my opponent to 12, then hit them for 9, and then if they cast 2 spells, they die? That sounds pretty good. So this is the one that's on 3, so I'll say always no to that. This is the one that's on 2. We'll say yes to that for this turn. Yeah, they're done. They've figured out what's going on. Yeah, if we were playing Shalai, this would be an awesome matchup for it. All right, so who is our opponent? License to Pill. Game 1, win with double vial. Like, unquestionably, just like having 2 vials got me the tempo that I needed. The fact that we were both on mulligans very much favored me because the board stalled and I was able to just pull ahead. So the burn matchup's kind of awkward to sideboard for because you're not sure exactly how much removal you want, because how much removal you want is dependent on what their post-board strategy is. Some burn players will pull out most of their creatures and just like try to go directly to your dome, making the removal spells worse. And other players will keep all the creatures in, especially on the when they're on the play, and try to go super aggro with that and just finish you with burn. So I usually just try to figure out what I don't want in the deck and go from there. I don't want my Revokers. They can name Grim Lavamancer, but unless my opponent shows me multiple of those, I'd rather just answer those with removal. I don't want Mirran Crusader. Its protection isn't relevant, and the double strike is fine, but not amazing. And then Recruiter's kind of so-so. Like, I definitely don't want 3 paths. If I cut my Recruiters just because they're slow, then that leaves me at 61. I could probably safely cut 1 land in this matchup, since I'm playing at 24th. Like, Wasteland is not ideal here. I'm going to go down to 23 and do that. Oh, thank you very much for the host. I appreciate it. I wanted to catch your stream, but it was starting up just as I was... sorry, I saw that you were streaming right as I was getting ready to stream myself, so I didn't get to watch any of yours earlier. This is an action light hand, but these are 2 very good cards for the matchup. So I'm okay keeping this on the draw. It's not great, but it's potentially good enough. Has snow-covered lands, keep. Makes sense, yeah. Snow-covered lands. Good against burn. So my opponent suspended a Rift Bolt, so if I play this Mom, it just, like, dies to Rift Bolt for, like, 3 life. I don't think I like that, given that I drew another land. So I'm just going to play land and pass. And then we'll see whether or not I want to, like, play this Mom on turn 2 over the Stoneforge, or whether or not I just want to jam the Stoneforge. Okay. So it doesn't feel like opponent has any creatures in hand. So I'm not gonna, like, play Mom and hold up swords. Actually, no, I am gonna play Mom and hold up swords, and that's because I can't connect with a piece of equipment next turn, no matter what. So I think I want to play Stoneforge on turn 3, so that I can then cast Jitte, equip, and go in on turn 4. I think that's my current plan. This will also expose the Mom to things like Searing Blaze or Searing Blood instead of the Stoneforge. And if this isn't answered, then my plan of, like, turn 4, get in there with equipment is going to work. I want to take this opportunity to again say I am loving this programmable mouse that I got. The ability to, like, F6 on my mouse is awesome. I am totally digging that. That was a good quality of life upgrade. I need to mess around with the macros and, like, finish setting it up so that I can, like, do everything I would do with the keyboard with my mouse. Bolt, Mom. Deal. If my opponent had a Bolt, shouldn't they just have, like, done this prior to, like, my turn, so Mom wasn't summoning sick? Do I want to gain 1 life? I don't think I want to gain 1 life. Still don't think I want to gain 1 life. Yeah, I don't know what my opponent's long-term plan here is. Like, now I'm just gonna place, like, literally any 2-drop creature and a Jitte in the same turn. Do they have, like, Smash to Smithereens, too? Oh, yeah, this is awesome. So now I can play Port and then cast Mom, cast Canonist, hold up Swords to Plowshares, and then, like, guaranteed connect with Jitte on the following turn. Maybe even, like, porting my opponent if they just, like, hold up a bunch of mana. Nope, 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 nope. Let's do Mom first. I guess it doesn't matter, this is an artifact spell, but good habits matter. It's just suspend Rift Bolt. That is not gonna get there. How do I want to do this? I don't think I really care about price of progress this game. So I probably connect with Jitte counters here, unless my opponent does something like bolt this, I protect, they fire blasted in response, in which case I've already won. So I'm just going to leave up a white mana. Alright, opponent scoops it up there. Making it look easy. Equipment is great. So I wonder if I just won that match due to my opponent's poor resource management. Like, I obviously don't know what's in their hand. But if they were intending on removing my creatures anyway, then if they just remove Mom on their turn, they're up one more answer. And then they could have answered either the Canonist or the Mom. And if they had, like, another removal spell beyond that that cost 1 mana, like, they're still in the game. No, our opponent made too many questionable decisions to be ghosting, for sure. No way the opponent was ghosting. In the first game, I think my opponent valued keeping their resources more than they valued pushing a couple of points of damage, and that was potentially a mistake. Yeah, Bosk, I agree with you there. Like, if they treat a couple of those creatures as sacrificial lambs, they might have been able to push, like, 5 more damage or something like that, and that could have been super relevant. So, like, to some extent, my opponent didn't play in a way that was appropriate for the necessary play patterns of their deck. I think that's a good way to put it. What is Aegis of Honor? I know Aegis of the Gods. Oh, that's right. That's that 1 mana enchantment. That's kind of like a Circle of Protection red. Yeah, so that's an example of a card that's very narrow, but very good at what it does. Like, my god, if you want to hate on Burn in your local metagame, that is a great one to do it with. I've seen Aegis of Honor in a couple of D&T lists that people have played in their local events. I don't think I've ever seen it in some real big event. Because like in bigger events you just don't hedge against burn. You just like hedge against the main portion of the field, and if you get paired against burn, you kind of just hope to win. That's the thing about Legacy though, like you can have fun and you can play dead decks and it's fine. Parfait is the colloquial name for tax rack combo. Man, my hand's great. I hope my opponent is playing a fair deck. I have no data on what my opponent's doing. I'm going to keep my hand. $12 says that you can convince Phil to play Parfait. Call it a hunch. I hear he's prone to bribery. Sphere of Law or Rule of Law? Alright, well, I have a card to look up. Okay, alright. That's reasonable. I usually played things that were cheaper, like Warmth. I've played Warmth and Circle of Protection Red and Core Firewalker as my primary ways to hate on burn as a D&T player. I have a lot of things I can do this turn. They're all disgusting. If my opponent does not have a counterspell, which I do not think they do, then my best line is Swords to Plowshares, Delver, Wasteland this, put in Thalia. If they have drawn a counterspell since turn 1, and it's somewhat likely they did since they probed twice and have taken 2 draws, then it's better for me to just play more conservatively and then play Thalia and then follow it up with something else. I think I'd like play Thalia, remove the Delver, and then be pretty far ahead on tempo, intending to wasteland the opponent on the next turn. Then I can Stoneforge Mystic, and with a land in the next 2 draw steps, I put in a piece of equipment. Otherwise, I tick this up to 3, and I just start doing the Flicker Wisp chain. I'm going to take a safe line. I feel very favored to win this game. This is not the highest upside play, but it's very safe and very strong. A-okay with their opponent using their turn like this. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Bosk, I think this is a situation where all of the plays lead to me either winning or me being very far ahead. So I don't think it matters too much which thing I do. This is just like, gotta get pushed or bolted. Opponents had enough of my crap here. So Jose, we went 0-3 with Red Prison today, and that's fine. That happens. But yesterday I got a 5, or Monday I got a 5-0 with it. So I've been very happy with Red Prison overall. It's a game 1 win with Vile. Did not even have to deploy the threatening equipment in my hand. So I think overall I'm sitting at about 65. No, I was sitting at 65% win rate today with Red Prison before that 0-3. So now I'm probably down to like 63% or something like that. So that's still good. Still very good. Considering that like many of those mistakes were on my end and were errors on my part, I'm quite happy with those numbers, and I expect them to just keep ticking up. Yeah, Sig merits, like, when you just get a Vile to resolve on turn 1 and things go your way, like, my god. Like, D&T is just one of the best decks in the format. Then you have other times where you wish you had a brainstorm to fix the, like, handful of 3-drops you have when you're stuck on 2 lands. And that happens too. Oh, this hand's great. Hand's really great. Fucking Probe is cheating. Don't Cabal Therapy my Vials, please. I have a family. Blue mana. This is fine. This is fine. So I'm going to play a turn 1 Vial. Hope it resolves. If it doesn't, I'll do a turn 2 Vial plus Swords to Plowshares. My opponent is thinking. On the other side of the table, I would not counter this Vial. Like, unless you have a way to take care of the second Vial as well, you're only buying 1 turn worth of tempo, which is not, and this Delver's not guaranteed to flip this turn, like so. So essentially my opponent bought 1 damage for their days. Let's try to get this Delver out of here. So in order for their previous play to work, they really need a second daze here. Or like a way to answer an Ether Vial, something like an Abrade. Otherwise it just seems like very poor negative tempo for them. I am really tempted to just wasteland that Underground Sea and pass the turn, putting in both Mum and Stoneforge Mystic uncounterably off of Vial. I'm going to start by wastelanding. I'm going to see if my opponent floats some mana. If they have something like an Abrade, they would need to cast it now. Opponent doesn't have pressure. Without pressure, I can take some time off. It will be a little unfortunate if they blow up my Vial on their turn, but if they blow up my Vial on their turn, then I'm going to have a Mother of Runes to their nothing, and then I'll just like hardcast this Stoneforge with Mom backup, and end up largely in that same position that I wanted to be in. No, Army of Thalia, I do not think there's a valid argument for that. Like, opponent's hand was probably bad, but whether or not it was truly that bad, I don't know about that. Let's get this little bugger out of here, shall we? Got him. Deal. Man, opponent not having Gurmag Anglers today is like making my day. This is sweet. Dear opponent, please tap down some to all of your mana so that I can wreck you. Heart fill. So essentially what I'm doing right here is forcing them to have exactly double removal spell in hand. The first one has to be pointed at the Stoneforge so that I don't get another piece of equipment. The second one has to be pointed at either the Flicker Wisp or the Jitte, or I get rid of this Deathrite Shaman and the game is over. Now that I have this Path to Exile, I'm actually going to let the Deathrite Shaman live for a turn. So if I leave Flicker Wisp up, then... And this is why I didn't use my Jitte counters. Oh wait, this isn't going to work the way I want it to, is it? Until your next turn. Okay, that's annoying. Lily Last Hope's really good. It's fine. I can beat that pretty easily. Like, I just tick this Vial up to 1 next turn, and then I use a bunch of Jitte counters to, like, jam in there and kill a Lily. I don't have any creatures in graveyard. They don't have any creatures in graveyard, so they will just be plussing the Lily. I would love to draw a 3-drop creature for my turn. That would be ideal. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. And opponent scoops it up. Nice. I mean, that's just another game that we won with Vial, right? Like, without Vial, I just have to, like, cast all of those idiots into Lily, and I just would have lost. But because I had the Vial, I had the flexibility of timing to allow me to just go and utterly decimate my opponent. Oh god. When my opponent has like Lily Last Hope and stifles me on a Vial activation afterwards, it is brutal. It is just like blue mana time walk. It's rough. All right, folks, I'm going to take 30 seconds, run to to the restroom here and refill my water bottle, and then we'll go into the next round. Zero 3 with Mono Red Prism, 3-0 with D&T. Good to know we turned this right around. We made the good moral choice playing D&T. We're the good guys now. Yeah, Delver's not a buy anymore. That's absolutely correct. But it's still pretty darn good. It's not like the literal 80-20 or 70-30 that it used to be, but it's still favorable. Let me back that up with data. Okay, maybe it is. So my current match win rate against Delver is 77.8. That's a record of 28-8 against Delver. So my win rate's still pretty stellar against it. It definitely feels harder than it used to, though. This is a very solid hand. I think my opponent's a Delver player. I feel like I've come across them before. God, yeah! This is the Delver player who does everything in their second main phase. Hit me. That was bad. Well, the good news is, I'm not losing the game anytime soon. The bad news is, the only card I cared about from my hand is gone. Just maybe not Delver? Maybe Pile? Fuck. Double fuck. Thanks, Army of Thalia. Have a good night. Don't hit me again. That's fine. Ugh. Fuck. It's alright. It's alright. This Thalia is so beyond dead. In any number of different ways. Honestly, I'm glad that K-Command is gone now, instead of, like, getting my piece of equipment. So this is fine. Leovold's surprisingly not that annoying right now. What is my game plan? My game plan is probably ride Mirror Crusader to victory. That probably means I should get Jitte, because Jitte's castable even if my Stoneforge Mystic dies. And Jitte Crusader is still a 2-turn clock. So I think this is fine. There's a very real argument for just, like, playing this Vial so that I can deploy this stuff eventually, even if I don't draw another land. The short-term tempo cost, though, is extraordinary. But the long-term advantage it provides is pretty great. But if I just play this Jitte now, and then next turn I draw a land for Crusader, and it resolves, then I have my opponent just dead very quickly, even without hitting any more lands. This is a tough choice. I'm gonna play the Bile. But first, I'm gonna attack with the Stoneforge Mystic and offer it up for half of a Snapcaster Mage if my opponent wants to do that. Great. Like, super glad that Culligan's command is gone. Again, I care about this card a lot. Come on, Plains. Yes. Alright, opponent. Can you beat that? Don't bolt it. Don't bolt it. No! I'm going to play Avenger over Thalia here, so that if I draw a land, I can attempt an equip on the Avenger. Hey, Red Twister, welcome. We're currently 3-0 and paired against Checkpile. This is game 1. I wonder how heavy my opponent is on blue cards, though. Like, look at their mana base. We're seeing double Badlands, Swamp, Bayou. An opponent has fetched twice. We're just going to kind of like watch how they fetch in the next game. It might be very telling. I don't know how in trouble we are. Like, we definitely did something naughty and we're getting yelled at. But I don't know if we're getting beaten, you know? I expect this card to get hardcast Force of Will. Well, HC Fox, you make a strong argument. I agree with your thinking. I even commented about it, like how he didn't have double blue just like 30 seconds ago. This is what happens like when you stream and you talk and you like keep interacting with the chat. You forget the stuff that you know. Fucking third K command of the game. Wait, why the hell are you not lightning bolting? Or like not K commanding? Do you just have like another bolt and I'm just dead? That's super unfortunate if that's the case. That's about the only way that makes sense. I was about to say, like, I can beat this still. This is still very beatable. Now it's not. Alright, so we know my opponent has 3 copies of Culligan's Command in the main deck. They are well geared to beat me. They also drew all of them. I'm gonna say that's all of them, because I can't fathom that they'd play the 4th. Alright, so I was on the draw and I lost. At least being game 1 loss to 3rd K command. Oh, Pile's not that bad. Everyone thinks the sky is falling every time they play against Pile. You just Marin Crusader him to death. It's not that bad. I don't want to do this. This is different from the configuration I'm normally playing. Like, I'm looking at these Sarah Avengers, which are walled by Baleful Strix, and it's awkward. But I don't think I want the Revokers over them, and I don't like Swords to Plowshares in this matchup. This is an unplayable hand if my opponent opens on Deathrite Shaman. I have 5 lands, very little action. I do not think this hand is good enough, despite it having lands and spells. This would essentially be a... I'm keeping this hand to try to get a free one off of a Wasteland. This goes back. Has port, do it. So, like, if I just, like, lead on Mom Plains, and they bolt the Mom, then my next line is Wasteland them into port them, and I can keep making land drops, but I'm not actually doing any pressure. I think a hand that has, like, a Thalia or a Stoneforge Mystic or a Vial is just going to be better than this. This is a terrible hand, but on 6 I'll keep this. And I'll top the Wasteland, and we're going to try to do the thing that I just talked about, but with 1 fewer card. Alright, in the meantime, let me look at my data for check pile. Okay, so with mono white D&T, my win rate is 57% against check pile. With red white, my win rate is about 73% instead. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, Red Twister. I put up the deck list for the Red Prison one today. I didn't switch it to D&T afterwards. Why would we fact check? The year is 2018. We don't check facts anymore. We've given up on facts. I'm going to hold this Flicker Wisp for a turn. Just like playing it into a board with a Baleful Strix isn't going to be profitable. So I'm going to like tick my Vial up to 3 and then use it to deny my opponent mana for a turn or reset a Planeswalker or keep a Deathrite from getting active. Just like get some incidental value off of it. Super rewarded for my decision. Do I want to play out the second Mom? Be really bad against like a Deluge or a Bolt, but otherwise it's a nice safety net so that even if my opponent has one removal spell, no, I find the Moto sounds useful. As a streamer specifically, having something that like gives me a heads up that I have priority or that like action on my end is required is very useful. All right. Chat, let the record show that I am not trying to beat Toxic Deluge right now. I accept that I'm going to lose to Toxic Deluge. Just like with the nature of my hand, if my opponent has a bomb of that caliber, I just cannot beat it. So I'm going to take the highest upside play, assuming my opponent does not have that card. Yeah, see, there we go. And that's fine. Like, no matter how I played this turn, I wasn't going to beat that, right? Not on a ton of outs here. That is not one of them. Yeah, and when I said Toxic Deluge, I really meant Toxic Deluge and Friends, right? Like, any Toxic Deluge, Marsh Casualties, Dread of Night, Sulfur Elemental, anything stupid of that nature that's meant to beat us would have beat us there. Okay, I was gonna say, like, was my opponent gonna forget to use their Liliana? Fuck. Alright, not playing that. I'm hoping to draw a Cataclysm at this point. No, Cataclysm does a lot. Like, Cataclysm will leave them with a yeah. Cataclysm would leave them with a Deathrite Shaman and a Baleful Strix. And one land. That's fine. Yeah, I don't care. I'd rather like hide some information and keep some extra things to rebuild post Cataclysm. I kind of assume that I'm dead at this point. I'm gonna play out a couple more turns. But if my opponent has a force of will, like, I'm just donezo. Yes. Cataclysm kills planeswalkers because you sacrifice everything except an artifact, creature, enchantment, and land that you select. So, since planeswalker isn't listed as a type, it gets sacrificed. You might have been thinking of, like, Pernicious Deed, which works similarly, but has different wording. That doesn't touch planeswalkers, and that's why you can play it in Nick Fit alongside all your big derpy Sorens and Nicol Bolas's and whatnot. If opponent doesn't have Force of Will, they 100% should just be Fate Sealing me. So I think they have Force, and I'm 100% dead. Let's see if we can get this countered. Nope. Opponent will just deal with that creature in some other way, with all their things that deal with my things. So what am I going to take? 3, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go down to 6. Why are you Fate Sealing me, opponent? It's so free. Alright, so that was on the play. That was a loss. Game 2, loss to Golgari Charm. 3 for 1, post mulligan. That's fine. I still think the 7-card hand was a mulligan. I don't think the 7-card hand would have done any better against that. My deck spit up a few too many lands there. Opponent had 3 Colligan's commands in game 1, and I only could have beaten 2 Colligan's commands. Unfortunate. K-Command is a good card? What? sure? Who told you that? Whoever told you that, tell them, shh, don't let everyone know. I don't want to play against that card anymore. Alright. My opponent says, no way, good luck, have fun, Medea. My hand's not great. I don't know what my opponent's playing. This is really close to a mulligan. I'd probably mull this on the play. Thalia in the Dark's pretty good, though, so I'm going to keep it. Eldrazi. Deal. So for anyone who's not used to playing against Eldrazi, you fuck up their mana. You fuck up their mana, even if it costs you some tempo, because you mise so many games by taking out a land at a critical time. So nice guy. We started the stream with Red Prison, and now we're on Mono White D&T. I'll flash the deck list in just a second here. I still have the Red Prison deck list below the stream. Since someone else asked about it, this is the deck list. We're essentially on a stock core with 24 lands, 3 Serra Avengers, 2 Crusaders, and the flex spots. I really like my position right now. I'm going to get to Flicker with this Endless One, and then Thalia holds back Matter Reshaper. The Portal get Wastelanded. Ooh. Feel kind of like the opponent mistapped their mana there. What I was about to say was, if I draw a Wasteland, I can Wasteland that Eldrazi Temple, and now that exact thing's gonna happen. Or is it? I can just Wasteland Eldrazi Temple, play Thalia, and then next turn Flicker Wisp Endless One if I need to. Alright, opponent back up to 4 mana, so Thought Knot is reasonable again. Still 1 away from Smasher. Thought Knot's potentially beatable. Smasher would be rough. Matter Reshapers are fine, though. At some point, my opponent's got to consider just, like, bashing in with these, just to, like, try to flip lands. I can Recruiter for Stoneforge. It feels like my opponent does not have Thought-Knot Seer. They might have Smasher, but I can't do much about that. So this turn I can go Recruiter for Stoneforge, next turn play Stoneforge, and then on the third turn put a Batterskull in play. It's very slow. I guess playing an Aether Vial puts me in the same spot, right? So this turn I play Aether Vial. Next turn it ticks up. So it'd be this turn Recruiter, next turn Stoneforge, then I have Batterskull. Or this turn Vial, next turn it ticks up. No, it'd be one turn slower. But then it'd set me up to do sweet Flicker Wisp things. I'm going to kind of count on my opponent stumbling and or wastelanding me and make this play. Okay, that's bad. I'm going to block the one that does more damage and hope it doesn't turn out poorly for me. Ah, it's a Reality Smasher. Okay, that's pretty bad. That's probably good enough. All right, I'm going to think this through for a minute, though. So what happens if I had played Recruiter for the previous turn? So this turn, I play Stoneforge, and I port my opponent. Endbringer kills my Thalia, or just bashes in, forcing me to chump block. And then the Endbringer can just lock down my Batterskull while Reality Smasher kills me. Yeah, okay, so I'm not getting through this either way. Alright, so it's on the draw versus Eldrazi, and I lost. Player was Plasmonic. Game 1, loss to Endbringer. Alright, so what do I like? I like Council's Judgment, and I like Path to Exile. Relic Warder and Recruiter are reasonable. What don't I like? Mother of Runes can get right on out of the deck. And there it's more difficult. Thalia is not the best. I'd be comfortable cutting 3 of those. Like, it's okay in that it's something that has first strike that can wall early threats, but it's not really where you want to be in the matchup. The second Thalia might be better than the third Recruiter, but it's close. Mulligan. Keep. Snap keep, in fact. This hand's great. It goes to the bottom. I can't cast that. Alright, so essentially my plan is mana denial my opponent and hope for the best. I'm gonna wasteland my opponent instead of Rishadenport so that they can't Warping Whale and make a token. Please don't have a thing you can play off of one land. Please. So now if my opponent plays a 2-mana idiot or a 3-mana idiot here, they can't also equip. So I wasteland their wasteland and then put in my Batterskull, and I hope that's good enough. I also could just wasteland their Eldrazi Temple. I don't really care about this port anymore now that I have this Plains as well. Please don't floop a creature. It's a wasteland. That's fine. No, the game is still very much within the opponent's reach. Like I'm forced into blocking. Otherwise, they're going to go and get too many Jitte counters, and they can just like deal with my Batterskull. Just by like shrinking it or growing their guy to be too big. So game is still very, very winnable for them. If they don't hit another creature this turn, it will probably be out of reach for them. Oh, it's so unfortunate. Okay. So there's one Jitte counter on this currently. I can equip my Stoneforge. My opponent attacks in. They'll just pump their Endless one. No, they'll shrink my Stoneforge so I don't deal any combat damage and get any things with Jitte. So that means I need to Relic Warder for... Or, sorry, I need to Recruiter for Relic Warder to get the Jitte off the table. And I want to Relic Warder over Revoker because I have my own Jitte. Well, Mirror Crusader can't beat them yet. Like, because there was one counter on the Jitte already, that means that Mirror Crusader is not going to be bros and just take over the game. Do I want to block to save 2 to 4 damage? Opponent is, like, assuredly going to pump if I don't block. So I should probably take this opportunity to gain life with this Recruiter. Because if I don't use it to gain life, when I cast the Relic Warder, my opponent is just going to, like, remove both of these anyway. Sure, but most of our lines at this point are going to lose to a Thought-Knots here. That's just, like, kind of the nature of where we're at. Deal. Deal. I don't know if my opponent knows how this works. Now that your Jitte is gone forever. My opponent just typed in chat, "Oh no, I've made a huge mistake." So now I can just attack in with the Stoneforge Mystic, right? I attack in with Stoneforge. They can block with Eldrazi Mimic if they want. Otherwise, I kill Mimic. Yeah. This is great. I've turned the corner. And then next turn I go like Mirror Crusader, equip Jitte on it, and following turn Batterskull on it. I've turned this one around. Static Grip, thank you very much for your continued support here. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. So Static Grip, we're currently 3-1. We were on the ropes against Eldrazi. Now things are looking okay. Do I just take 2 from this? I think I do, so that I can Mirren and equip Jitte with it still being able to be just, like, absolutely massive. Then I can, like, first strike out a Reality Smasher. I think this is game 2. Yeah, my opponent got game 1. So you just missed my opponent making a pretty big error against Leon and Relic Warder, not knowing how that interacts with like Jitte counters. Oh, Lingmeister, hey, I'm glad to be playing D&T. I'm working on a couple of different articles on. Ooh. Okay. Okay. That's fine. I'm working on a couple of different articles on Red Prison currently, so that's why I've been playing that deck so much. So if I take 5, I go down to 7. I assume my port's going to get wastelanded. So this Endless one is going to get to connect twice, which means I should just kill it now. Ooh. Okay, I have a choice to make. I get to get rid of one of these. I think I get rid of the Reality Smasher because it has Trample, but there is an argument for get rid of Thought-Knot Seer, try to draw into a 2-drop. But since I've boarded out 3 Thalias, I don't actually have that many 2-drops left. So I think I need to hit Smasher, then draw a 2 or a 3-drop the turn after. Then I can trade with Thought-Knot Seer in combat. My opponent is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah, crap. My opponent can start activating Eye of Ugin too, unless they Wasteland me. So I kind of want them to Wasteland me, which they might do. Opponent has seen the line. Knight, thanks for stopping by for a while. Yeah, that Smasher's problematic. That Mimic's also problematic. Okay, this is a great start. So I path that and I can draw a card. And now I can draw into like a Sarah Avenger and equip that. Nope, that's a Plains. And it's not going to do it. Slaughter the strong, get him. That would do it. Alright, so game 2. What really caused us to lose there? I mean, we kind of just lost to falling behind on tempo. Like, I had the right cards. Like, the Crusader would have been good a turn earlier. The Batterskull hitting play was just, like, a touch too late. I'm gonna attribute that one to Jitte. We'll call it lost to Jitte. I know we got rid of it with Relic Warder, but that's really what we lost to there. Okay. The All Is Dust was also backbreaking, but that could have been like any removal spell because it was an All Is Dust for one Crusader, so like it could have been a like Spatial Contortion as well. Kind of want to play like one more game. I don't think I'm going to get through another league or anything. But I don't feel like I'm really done. I don't feel satisfied stopping right now. All right, so chat, once again I'll ask you, do you want to see another couple of games with Red Prison or maybe like 1 to potentially 2 games with D&T? You tell me what you want. I'm going to check my phone real quick. All right, so we got 2 votes for Red Prison, 3 votes for D&T, 4 votes for D&T. All right, 5 votes for D&T. Let's play D&T. So Lingmeister, I know how appealing the idea of like beatdown is, and like D&T with just like 4 Sarah Avengers, 4 Crusaders, go go go. But the equipment package is just like so important to the win percentage in the Delver matchup. I just don't think you can play without it. This hand is stellar. It has a Vial, it has 2 creatures, it has 2 mana disruptive elements, and my opponent mulligan 2? We're getting a lot here. I am on board with the Delver matchup. I will fight me some Delvers. What did I say earlier? I had a 70-something% win rate against Delver, right? What the heck is Matenda Herder? Is that even a magic card? Cat's teaching me about so many cards tonight. Sweet. My vial just resolved. An opponent didn't do anything. Did they scry to the top and they needed that card? They did scry to the top. So whatever it was, potentially a land, they needed it. Oh, it's a flanker. Of course it's a flanker. Why wouldn't it be? Alright, so they're left with double Exhume, Animate Dead. So this is where I just port them and get a Time Walk. And then later we're going to make them draw 14 cards, they'll go to 3 life, and I'll kill them with a Caracas. How's that sound, chat? Because it sounds pretty great to me. I will be at both GP Richmond and SCG Con. I'm not sure whether or not I'll be at the first part of SCG Con on Friday. I've got a friend coming into town that I'm going to do something with for a little while Friday morning. But I'm hoping to be there Friday evening, and I want to get together some small, like, D&T get-together. Ah, it's a shame. A Leshnorn, That's pretty good. Still gonna put in the Thalia, though. Because if you don't draw that land, it's sweet for me. And if you do draw the land, whatever. Leshnorn and Grizzlebrand are both legends. They're both bounceable with Caracas. Thoughtseize me. You can have any of these cards here, because you can't take the Caracas. Okay, so how do I feel about Brightling? I will be testing Brightling in the next week to figure out whether or not it's good enough. Regardless, I will play with it some more online. The card's quite good. Conceptually, I need to see how it plays in actual games. What can I do with this recruiter? Probably nothing this turn. I'm probably just better, like, attacking for 4, porting my opponent. Playing Caracas. In Lost Mystery, I don't remember whether or not I answered your question. I will be very, very, very likely bringing a mono-white D&T deck. There's just so much Delver running around right now that it doesn't make a ton of sense to play the Splash build. Alright. We're playing against black-red. Or I guess I have it in here as red-black Reanimator. What was that? Play or draw? Play? Draw. So in the draw, And I win. Versus Ig Crocs. Game 1 win with Mana Denial. And Caracas. Play Set Brightling in foil. I don't enjoy playing with foils. I think I play with like 2 foils. I play with my GP promo Batterskull and my GP promo Umezawa's Chite. Not anything else. All my cards are good. I feel like my sideboard is even more hateful than normal against Reanimator. I'm going to cut 1 land. I'm going to cut 1... I guess I can cut down to 1 Flicker Wisp. Maybe I'm going too heavy on spot removal. And then cut 1 generic beater. It's a little creature light. My general approach to this matchup is if you prevent them from getting their first creature or you answer their first creature, a lot of times you can just like stabilize and win. It's a very average hand. My opponent is mulliganed. How does that influence my decision? I'm not thrilled on this hand. It has Thalia as mana disruption and an answer spell for 1 creature. I guess that's good enough. I like Bile hands a lot better, or hands with surgical or rip. But this is probably okay. So Lost Mystery, Aether Vial is the best card in the deck by a lot, and I basically never cut it. I cut it in exactly 1 matchup, and that is the Nick Fit matchup, because they have Pernicious Deed and they also accelerate us on mana. Otherwise, I do not cut that card. That is how strongly I feel about it. Alright, so this is just like turn 1, floop a Leshnor and hope it's good enough. Alright, so they have 1 card left in hand, and it is a Reanimate. The good news is, opponent, you have life to use that Reanimate. The bad news is, I'm going to play a Thalia, and then you're probably not going to have mana to do anything. Vote now in chat for what the correct line this turn is. It's easy. Fuck that Lotus Petal. If I attack with all of these creatures, my opponent is on a 3-turn clock, so I will go ahead and do so. Yeah, so Revoker is not Pithing Needle on a body. Revoker can shut off mana abilities. Alright, so game 2 win with STP into Thalia. So opponent essentially played a gambit, right? I need to have one of my 3 copies of Karakas, one of my 7 1-mana removal spells, or Council's Judgment, or I probably can't win that one. And on a mull to 6, that's a fine turn 1 play. Like, I don't fault my opponent for doing what they did. I would not have mulliganed that hand. Poor Leshnorn. He was cheated into play, but didn't get to kill any little white critters. It's like Double Dread of Night, but better. No good. Alright. Mr. Pink looks like he plays some Delver decks of various natures. How do I feel about this against Delver on the play? This is fine. It's not a vile hand, but it like curves Mom into Stoneforge. If the Stoneforge gets answered, I still have a Jitte. Ooh. So Static Grip, I know there are a lot of outs to that, but do you think they could consistently do better than that on 5? Like, that's a real question. No, this is not Mono Red Prison. This is like the Artifact Steel Stompy deck. I mean, you can call it affinity if you want, but it's affinity in kind of a loose sense of the word. I would stream with this deck sometime. I think it's very interesting. Steel Overseer is pretty good. That's gonna get Revokered. They can make a pretty big boy with Ravager if I let the Ravagers live, but I don't think I can let the Steel Overseer get out of hand. I'm more worried about that than the Ravagers. How do I feel about an attack in? What happens if I attack in? My opponent could just, like, sack a bunch of stuff, block, make me feel bad. So if they sack this, they can turn one of those into a 3/3. And sack Ravager to this Ravager, make it a 5/5. And then still have Steel Overseer and that. Yeah, so I'm not going to do anything there. Opponent might also preemptive... No, never mind. So many Ravagers. That's a solid draw. So is a 6/6 Batterskull attacking in good enough? My opponent can go 1, 2. My opponent can make something that is real big. Chalice of the Void on 1, that's fine. Yeah, that's grand. So now I can, like, put this on the Batterskull, kind of make my opponent go all in on one of their Ravagers, take a crack back, or a chump block with Mom, and then Flicker Wisp the big Ravager. I can also just, like, wait another turn or two and, like, just equip to a Stoneforge this turn, get some Jitte counters, then put the Jitte onto the Batterskull. Or, like, put Jitte onto Mom this turn and attack in, and just start forcing my opponent to lose the Battle of Attrition. I can also just put Sword of Fire and Ice in this turn, and hope to draw a land so that next turn I can go, like, Sophie and Jitte. but it's probably time to start some degree of aggression. And this should just be like sack Ravager to a different Ravager. Yep, good play, opponent. You know what's up. Oh, Dave C., thank you very much for hosting. Vault Scourge means that Mom has text again. How do I feel about blocking? If I block, it forces my opponent to get rid of at least one artifact. I don't need to block. I'm at 17. That's a great draw. This is going to force action from my opponent. It didn't. What? Okay. Yeah, I wonder if my opponent just, like, accidentally F6'd there. Because I think they just, like, go all in on Vault Scourge at that point. Because they can put, like, 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, they can, like, turn that Vault Scourge into something stupid like a 10-10 and just hope I don't have a flyer. That's probably their best path to victory. Alright. So I was on the play, and I win. Versus Mr. Pink. 21. Game 1 win with double Revoker. Alright. This stuff is for sure good. Unsure about Cataclysm. Mom's for sure bad. Crusader's probably slow and gets outclassed. Unsure what my last cut is. Probably one Thalia. Crusader might be better than Thalia. My opponent's pretty creature heavy, and I don't care about many of their non-creature spells, whereas I have non-creature spells that I care about quite a bit. So this might actually just be better. Welshman, we're doing pretty well. We went 0-3 with Red Prison, and that happens. We got a 3-2 with mono white D&T, and then we're 1-0 in this league currently and up again. This is going to be my last match. This is a great hand. So I get a Swords to Plowshares for their first play. I get a Stoneforge Mystic to find a piece of equipment, and then 2 things that hold the ground pretty respectably. This is a dies thing, right? Yeah, so I can just like pass, and there's no penalty for not just tagging it right now. Well, Welshman, the good news is that like the replay will be immediately available. I'm gonna take 1 from the Hangerback Walker just so I can remove the Lodestone Golem on my turn. Otherwise, I just can't cast anything other than Revoker. I'm going to get to Relic Order this Hangerback Walker at some point, and that's going to feel great, because even if it comes back, it's just going to come back as a 0/0. Static Grip, I'll do a couple of extra streams. And we did hit those already. So probably expect to see another stream from me either tomorrow night or Friday, kind of depending on how things go with my schedule and what my friends are up to. I'm going to do the spell this turn that has a higher converted mana cost than the rest of the stuff, so that later on I can go and play multiple of these in a single turn. I don't know what exactly the plan for the D&T meetup is. I think I want to get together at some point in the early evening, get a whole bunch of people who want to like sit down, go out, grab some dinner, and just like chat D&T stuff in some nature. I think like probably tomorrow I'll message like the Facebook group and the forum and all the regular places, and we'll see what we want to do. Man, my opponent just keeps playing things I need to kill. Alright, so now I get 2 things in 1 turn. I, So if I cast Relic Warder and I put it on Ballista, if which one of these things is more scary if it gets unlocked? Probably Ballista. Hangerback Walker being a 1/1 that if it dies, they get some idiots. That's not the end of the world. But Ballista getting real big with like activations is bad. And folks, keep in mind that, you know, as a teacher, there are certain things that I can and can't say on stream. So, you know, good plans sound reasonable. I don't know how to optimally approach this turn, but I think I want the Ballista gone forever. I think there's just too great a risk of leaving that around. And I know this is going to, like, eat the Relic Warder. And that's fine. This is a 1-for-1 removal spell. I kind of actually want to just play the Sarah Avenger now. Let my opponent tick that up, just like never block it, and then just like revoke it the next turn. The reason why I didn't like do that the other way was because if the Ballista gets unlocked with something like a Dismember or a Spatial Contortion, it is devastating for me, and I probably lose the game. Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. So I'll need a Council's Judgment or a Flicker Wisp to get rid of that. In the meantime, I can port them down and revoke this Hangerback Walker so it's not stupid later on if it eventually gets sacrificed. I can spell, right? Oh, AR. Hangerback Walker. Okay. Thank you. And since I won't be able to mana denial them out of casting any of their cards this turn, I'm going to go ahead and Stoneforge and get my Jitte so that preemptively, when I force them to keep a card in hand, my Stoneforge can get in there, and I won't care about the bridge for the rest of the game. Words without Latin roots are impossible to spell, basically. I don't know if what my opponent's doing right now is going to be safe. Do they have another bridge? Like, unless they have another bridge, I can't see, like, literally what card they would want to get out of their deck more than just having another land in play. Because I'm going to port down the City of Traders. Okay. That's fair. Walking Ballista is a great Magic card. So they get to, like, Ballista for 2, kill my Revoker. They can also attack in with a Hangerback Walker if they want. But they might leave themselves with a card in hand. So if they just, like, cast this Ballista on 2 and pass the turn, then I equip a Stoneforge and I attack in. And then they either have to, like, block Stoneforge, then shoot 2 other things, or shoot and kill Stoneforge. Otherwise I get Jitte counters, which allow me to attack in for the rest of the game. Okay, hold on. Hold on. You have another bridge in your deck, and you don't tutor for bridge? You tutor for Ballista? What the fuck? I'm baffled. Absolutely baffled. So this is awkward. Now this pings this, and I have to leave one Jitte counter around for later. And now if opponent has 2 non-creature spells, I'm in awesome shape. Oh yeah, did I do it? Am I getting there? Because it feels an awful lot like I'm getting there. You fool. This is the elaborate Thalia tax trap that takes turns to set up. Ha 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 ha. That's great. So I actually think I want to wasteland my opponent's Caracas to force them to bounce Thalia if they want to bounce Thalia, so that I can equip this here, Shrink Avenger, hit in for 2, get 2 new Jitte counters, and then port them off of these 2 lands for the rest of the game. So now I go equip, swing, double port, and don't play Thalia this turn. Play Thalia next turn. Now opponent even has 3 cards in hand for us. This is glorious. Bully mode, activate. Good news for opponent, their Hangerback Walker can attack. Isn't that grand? Alright. Now, who in chat said I was about to be 1-1? Who didn't have faith in me? HC Fox. I had that. I had that the whole time. It was fine. Honestly, I think my opponent not tutoring up the second bridge and tutoring that ballista instead very likely cost them the game. Like, they drew the bridge anyway, but, like, why would you tutor that ballista? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you get the bridge, and you just, like, plan to hide forever, and then you don't put yourself in the situation where you're keeping another card in hand. Yeah, or yes, Welshman, even tutor nothing and just like stay hidden is probably a better line than what my opponent did there. Okay, so we ended up with 5-2 on the night for D&T, 0-3 on the night for Red Prison. Some people were asking about the list. Here's the list that I'm testing right now. I'm likely to play something within a card or two of this for SCG Con. I'll do a wrap up in just a second here. Let me update a couple of things. Okay, so I've really been liking this deck list. It's felt solid. I like the additional copies of Sarah Avenger for Delver. I like the 24th land for Delver and Red Prison. I especially like the fact that it's just another basic. I feel like I have all the various answers that I need right now for the format as a whole with a deck list like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here. I'm going to turn you over to another Death and Taxes player, and I hope you enjoy their content. Thank you for those of you that subscribed tonight to kind of show my support. Expect another stream either Thursday or Friday night, and one of those will probably be with Stoneblade as soon as I can borrow some forces from my roommate. Night, folks.